to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story. Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where your day can gently soften at the edges and drift into night. As you settle in this evening, you're simply here to rest, to breathe, and to be carried into a quiet story about a golden sunset, a wooden pier stretching over calm water, and a tender kiss shared as the last light fades. Make yourself as comfortable as you can. If you are lying down, let your shoulders sink into the support beneath you. If you are sitting, allow your spine to be tall but soft, as if a gentle breeze could move through you. Take a slow breath in through your nose, filling your lungs without any strain. Pause for a moment at the top, and then exhale softly, as if you are sighing away the weight of the day. Again, inhale slowly, letting your belly rise. Hold just a little, and breathe out, feeling your jaw release, your forehead smooth, your hands uncurl. You are safe here. There is nowhere you need to go, and nothing you need to do. The only thing that matters now is rest. You might picture a coastline at the edge of evening. The sky is starting to turn soft, touched by the first hints of gold and rose. Somewhere along that coast there is a long wooden pier reaching out into the water, weathered and familiar. And tonight that pier will hold the quiet steps of two people moving toward a shared moment of warmth and peace. Allow your breath to find its own gentle rhythm. With each exhale, imagine the day drifting away behind you, like footprints slowly washed smooth by the tide. You can let the story carry you now like a small boat, rocking calmly on the water. In a seaside town where the days moved unhurriedly and the nights smelled of salt and jasmine, there lived a young woman named Alara and a young man named Jonas. The town curled itself along the coast like a cat sleeping against a window, its narrow streets lined with stone houses whose walls had listened to many years of laughter, quiet conversations, and whispered wishes. Lanterns hung from doorways, their glass panes smudged with the touch of many hands, ready to glow softly when the sun slipped away. Beyond the houses, beyond the small market square where fishermen sold their morning catch and children chased one another around the fountain, a wooden pier stretched into the sea. This pier was old but strong, its planks worn smooth by countless footsteps. Each board seemed to remember stories, holding them quietly the way the sea held reflections of the sky. Alara loved the pier at sunset. She worked during the day in a little bookshop not far from the harbor, where the scent of paper and ink kept her company, along with the comforting murmur of pages turning. But when the light began to soften and the day leaned gently toward evening, Her thoughts always drifted to the pier, to the water, to the stretch of sky that seemed to melt into the horizon. Jonas worked out on the water. He helped crew a modest boat that went out with the dawn and returned in the late afternoon, its nets heavy with silver flashes of fish, its wooden hull lightly creaking in the swell. To him, the sea was both companion and teacher, sometimes playful, sometimes moody, always deep. Yet it was at the pier, at sunset, that he felt a different kind of calm, something that belonged not to the wind or the waves, but to the quiet possibility of shared moments. They had known each other in the soft, distant way people do, nodding over stacks of books in the shop or waving when the boat came in. And Alara happened to be near the harbor with a small paper bag of pastries for her evening meal. There was a gentle curiosity between them, subtle as the shift of light on water. One evening, the day had been especially long. Alara had arranged shelves, dusted high corners, and helped customers find stories that fit the mood of their hearts. Each task had been small, but by the time the shop's bell chimed for closing, a pleasant tiredness settled into her limbs, as if she'd spent the day walking slowly along the sand. She locked the door, slipped the key into her pocket, and stepped into the fading light. The sky was beginning to change, painting soft colors along the clouds. She felt the pull of the pier like a call from an old friend. Her steps along the cobbled street were unhurried. The stones remembered her footsteps. They had carried her here many times. She passed the small bakery with its empty shelves, watched the last customers drifting away from the market, and turned toward the harbor where the scent of salt grew stronger with every step. Jonas had just returned from the sea. The boat was tied securely, its ropes looped in tidy coils. His work for the day was done, and the others had gone on ahead, their laughter fading into the distance as they headed home for warm meals and flickering candlelight. Jonas stayed behind, drawn, as always, to the quiet stretch of wood leading out over the water. He walked slowly along the pier, his boots tapping softly. The waves brushed against the pylons with a patient rhythm, a lullaby too ancient to remember its first notes. Seagulls, having made enough noise for one day, settled along the railings or glided silently in the air, their wings catching the last glimmers of light. As Alara reached the start of the pier, Jonas was already halfway along, his silhouette framed by the gentle glow of the setting sun. She hesitated for a heartbeat, feeling the familiar flutter of shyness, then stepped onto the wooden planks, letting their worn surface welcome her bare feet. She preferred to feel the textures beneath her, the cool smoothness of the wood, the faint warmth where the sun still lingered. The water below moved in slow, drowsy swells, and the sky above was brushed with colors that seemed almost impossible. Deep gold near the horizon, soft rose spreading outward, hints of lavender gathering at the edges of the world. The clouds were gentle smudges, drawn thin as if the day itself were exhaling. Alara walked toward Jonas, her steps light, her breath slowing to match the rhythm of the sea. She did not hurry, The evening did not ask her to. Jonas heard the soft whisper of footsteps behind him and turned. When he saw her, his face warmed with a quiet smile, the kind that did not disturb the peaceful air, but added to it. "Good evening," he said, his voice low and calm. "Good evening," Alara replied, the words carrying easily on the breeze. For a moment they stood together in the growing colors of the sky, the space between them filled with the gentle hush of water and the scent of salt and wood. The world narrowed to this simple place. Two people on a pier, the sea below, the sky above, and the light of day leaning affectionately toward night. "Long day?" Jonas asked, his gaze lingering on the reflections shifting on the water. "A good one," Alara said quietly, but full. "I thought I would watch the sunset, let it wash everything away." He nodded. "I do the same after the sea, after the work. It feels like a doorway this time of day, between what has been and what may come." She liked the way he put it, as if the evening were not an ending but a passage. They walked together toward the end of the pier, where there was a simple wooden bench facing the horizon. The bench had been there as long as either of them could remember, its surface worn smooth by people who had come to think, to dream, to breathe. They sat not too close, not too far. The space between them was easy, like a shared blanket laid over tired shoulders. The sun was lowering, a soft circle of gold, sliding toward the line where sea and sky met. Its light spread in shimmering paths across the water, as if inviting anyone who wished to follow. The colors of the sky deepened slowly, shifting almost imperceptibly, each moment spilling gently into the next. Alara let her hands rest in her lap, fingers loose, shoulders sinking. Jonas leaned back against the bench, the wood supporting the weight he did not realize he had been carrying. The pier itself seemed to breathe with them. With each gentle rise and fall of the water, the structure gave the barest hint of motion, soothing and slow, like the rocking of a cradle. The sounds of the town had grown softer behind them, distant and muted, as lanterns began to glow softly in windows and along narrow paths. "Do you ever feel," Alara said, her voice quiet so as not to disturb the moment, "that sunsets hold secrets, as if the sky knows something it only tells in colors?" Jonas considered this, his eyes on the horizon. "I think," he replied, "that the secrets are ours and the sky is just kind enough to listen. It holds what we bring to it." She smiled, feeling something inside her ease even more. The idea that the sky could hold their secrets, gently cradling them in streaks of pink and gold, made her chest feel warm and light. Above them, a lone cloud drifted lazily, its edges tinted with soft fire. A breeze moved through, carrying the faint sound of someone singing in the distance, the notes thin and sweet, melting into the evening air. As the sun dipped lower, the light grew softer, more diffuse. The world felt less solid, its edges blurring in a pleasant way. Time seemed to stretch, not urgently, but comfortably, like a cat extending itself in a sunny patch. Alara and Jonas spoke a little about simple things, about the rare book that had arrived at the shop that morning, its pages edged with gold, about the curious way the dolphins had followed the boat that day, leaping gracefully beside it as if escorting them home. Their voices were gentle threads, woven into the quiet of the moment. Then, as the sky deepened into richer hues, their words became fewer. Silence settled between them, but it was not empty. It was full, like a cup of warm tea on a cool evening, comforting and peaceful. Alara watched a small boat rocking in the harbor, its hull painted a soft blue that now looked almost gray in the fading light. Jonas watched the way the sun's reflection broke into little ripples as the water moved, each shimmer a temporary spark, appearing and vanishing in an endless, unhurried dance. Somewhere close, a gull called once, then fell quiet, as if even it understood that this was a time for stillness. A soft, nearly imperceptible sense of possibility seemed to gather around them like mist rising from the sea. Neither of them named it, but both of them felt it, gentle and patient, like a tide turning. The sun touched the horizon. The colors of the sky brightened for a final, tender blaze, as if the day were giving a last, loving look before stepping away. Hues of orange and rose lit the small wisps of cloud, turning their edges bright, then slowly softening. Jonas turned his head slightly, watching Alara's face in profile. The light traced the line of her cheek, touched the curve of her mouth, and rested on the quiet focus in her eyes. He felt in that moment the simple truth that he liked being near her, liked the way her presence smoothed the edges of his thoughts. Alara felt his gaze and turned to meet it. She saw the openness in his expression, the way his features had relaxed in the quiet of the evening. There was a gentleness there that matched the calm of the sea. Her heart fluttered but softly, like a small bird settling into a nest that felt safe. The air around them seemed to hush even more. The waves below kept their steady rhythm, but the world felt wrapped in a soft, glowing stillness. No words were needed. The moment held its own language. Jonas shifted closer, the bench beneath them creaking very faintly, as though acknowledging the small change. Alara did not move away. The closeness felt natural, like stepping into a patch of warm light. The sky was a canvas of deepening color, and the sun, now half hidden by the horizon, cast a soft golden glow over their faces. The light made a path across the water, a shimmering bridge that seemed to connect them to something beyond the visible world. In that gentle, suspended heartbeat of time, Jonas lifted a hand, slow and careful. His fingertips brushed a stray strand of hair from Alara's cheek, tucking it softly behind her ear. The touch was feather-light, respectful, full of the quiet reverence that comes from recognizing how delicate and precious a moment can be. Her breath caught, then settled again, deeper, calmer. She looked into his eyes, And the sea, the sky, the fading sun all seemed to lean in and listen. Their faces moved closer, as naturally as the tide follows the pull of the moon. There was no rush, no urgency, only a slow unfolding, like the petals of a night-blooming flower opening to the cool air. Their lips met in a tender, unhurried kiss. It was gentle, like the first touch of warm rain after a long day, like the brush of soft fabric against skin, like standing in a quiet room full of morning light. The world around them seemed to exhale, the colors of the sunset wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. For a few moments, there was nothing but the warmth of shared breath, the softness of closeness, and the steady whisper of the sea below. The kiss was simple, but within its simplicity was a sense of something deep and safe, like finding a sheltered cove after a long sail. When they parted, it was with another slow breath, faces still close, foreheads nearly touching. Alara's eyes closed briefly, savoring the calm that spread through her like warm tea finding its way through every part of her body. Jonas felt as if a quiet harbor had opened inside his chest, a place he had been looking for without knowing it. Above them, the last edge of the sun slipped beneath the horizon. The sky shifted toward blue and violet, the first faint stars beginning to peek through like shy friends. Lanterns along the shore flickered to life, their reflections shivering gently in the water. They remained on the bench, side by side, their shoulders touching now, fingers lightly intertwined. No longer was the space between them empty. It was filled with the shared echo of that soft kiss, with the quiet knowledge that something had changed. Gently and irrevocably, the pier stretched beneath them, steady. The sea moved around them, rhythmic and soothing. The sky arched over them, vast and patient. They spoke softly of little things again, but now there was a new lightness in their voices, a sweetness that did not need to be named. They did not plan the future, did not make promises or draw maps of what might come. It was enough to sit together at the edge of the day, hands loosely linked, hearts quietly at ease. As evening deepened, the line between sky and sea softened, blurring into a velvety darkness sprinkled with stars. The gentle lap of waves against the pier became steadier, a kind, repetitive sound that seemed to invite the mind to drift and soften. Far down the shore, a dog barked once and then fell silent. A soft wind moved through, brushing their faces, carrying the faint scent of pine from the distant hills. The air cooled, but between them, warmth remained. Alara leaned her head slightly against Jonas's shoulder, and he did not move, simply letting himself be a quiet place for her to rest. In that simple closeness, the aches of the day, the small worries and scattered thoughts began to fade. All that remained was the steady ticking of time and the slow unfolding of night. The pier seemed almost to rock them, like a cradle held gently by the sea. Somewhere within the town, in a small bookshop now dark for the night, shelves full of stories, waited patiently. Somewhere in the harbor, the boat Jonas worked on rested against the dock, its ropes creaking softly. The world of tasks and duties, of plans and lists, had gone to sleep for a while. Here on the pier, only rest remained. As the stars grew brighter, the sky became a quiet tapestry of light. A crescent moon rose thin and serene, casting a pale path on the water. The reflections of lanterns shivered gently, then calmed, like thoughts slowing down at the end of a long day. Alara's eyes grew heavier. The peaceful rhythm of the waves, the soft weight of her head against Jonas's shoulder, and the comfortable warmth beside her made drowsiness feel like an invitation she was ready to accept. She listened to the sound of Jonas's breath, steady and deep, and felt her own breathing fall into the same calm tempo. Jonas felt his mind loosen its grip on the scattered pieces of the day. The lists he had been turning over in his thoughts drifted away like boats slipping out of view in a soft fog. In their place was only this: the softness of the night, the gentle contact of Alara's hand in his, the lingering echo of the sunset's golden light. If there was magic in the world, it was quiet and kind, he thought. It lived in moments like this, in the hush of the sea against the pier, in the simple warmth of shared silence after a tender kiss, in the way the world could feel, at once so vast and so safely small. Time moved slowly. The night settled around them like a soft blanket. In the distance, the town's clock tower chimed, but the sound was muted by the gentle air, mellow and rounded. The notes floated over the rooftops, crossed the harbor, and reached the pier as if they had drifted through a long, calm dream before arriving. Alara's breathing grew even slower, her body relaxing further, her hand relaxing in Jonas's, though still resting there, a small weight of reassurance. Jonas let his eyes close fully now, knowing that the sea would keep its watch, that the pier would hold them, steady and unmoving. The night deepened, but it did not feel dark. It felt soothing, like a quiet room lit by a single candle, enough to see the outline of comfort and nothing more. On and on the waves moved, rising and falling, a gentle lullaby sung by the ocean to anyone who chose to listen. The stars shimmered softly overhead, reflections of distant fires burning calmly in the sky. The moon continued its slow path, patient and serene. The pier, the sea, the sky, and the two figures resting together formed a small, peaceful world, a sanctuary floating between day and night. As that world rests quietly, you can feel your own breath becoming slower and deeper. The soft rhythm of waves against the pier can be the rhythm of your own relaxation. With each inhale, calmness enters. With each exhale, any last tension slips away. Like a tiny piece of driftwood carried off by a gentle tide, you might imagine yourself on that pier now, perhaps as a quiet observer, wrapped in a warm shawl of twilight. You can feel the wood beneath you, smooth and familiar. You can hear the water, you can smell the salt. Above, the stars are kind and watchful. Around you, the night holds you safely. There is no need to think about tomorrow. There is no need to return to the busyness of the day. For now, you are held in this quiet coastal night, where everything is soft and patient. Your body grows heavier, pleasantly so, as if it is sinking into the surface beneath it, supported completely. Muscles relax one by one without effort. Your jaw, your shoulders, your hands, your legs. Even the small muscles around your eyes soften and release. Thoughts may still drift in, like small boats wandering near the shore, but you do not need to climb aboard them. Let them pass by, gentle and unimportant. The story, the sea, the stars, the pier, all hold you in a calm, embracing hush. Imagine now that the night deepens even more, the sounds growing softer, the air growing still. The couple on the pier rests peacefully, their breathing slow and steady, hearts quiet and content. Above them, the sky keeps its silent watch. Below them, the sea never stops, its tender, rocking song. You too are part of this stillness. You are wrapped in safety, in warmth, in quiet. If sleep comes now, you can welcome it like a dear friend arriving at last. Let it move over you, the way twilight moved over the sea, gently, gradually, lovingly. Let your thoughts fade like the last colors of sunset, leaving only the calm of the night. Rest now. Drift like a feather on a calm tide. Breathe slowly and softly. The pier is there, the sea is there, the stars are above, and you are surrounded by peace. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well.